Do you think Ely's going to try for a rematch?
No, he doesn't get a rematch. He can try, but he doesn't get one.
Wow.
He quit on the stool. He quit twice. I stopped him twice.
That's just the reality, and I think that fight has gone by the wayside. I don't think we'll ever see that matchup. Will we ever see a three-weight division champion? That's the thing. It is absolutely crazy. What Alex Pereira tried to do was phenomenal, and I give him a lot of credit for the heart that he showed in getting back to his feet. But it's the three-weight division thing. It's impossible. But anyway, Islam Makhachev, I don't think he's thinking about that. All he's thinking about doing is something that other people have never done, and that is defend belts in two weight divisions. As I say, he defended 4 times at lightweight, and now this will be his first ever defense at welterweight. And by the way, if he gets through Ian Garry, and that is a big if, and I say that respectfully, and I assume Islam will be a massive favorite, and rightly so.
This is the only welterweight title fight we're getting for the remainder of the year. Islam Makhachev there at 68%. Ian Machado Garry 25%. Then you get a nice little cheeky Carlos Prates at 9%, I guess, accounting for maybe someone gets injured or something kind of crazy happens. But if you're looking at that, like close to a 70-30 for Islam to win this fight, does that feel appropriate, or do you give Ian Garry a stronger than a 30% chance of winning this?
I give him stronger than a 30% chance, especially after what we've been seeing recently. And I think I actually really like the fact that we're getting these upsets, because it reminds us of how small the sample size is of fighting. And when you see guys not wanting to fight often, it's for a reason. It's like, because the more you fight, the more likely you are to get exposed. You know, like if you're only fighting once a year or twice a year, and you're able to handle it and just really fight really good that once or twice, you know, you're better off doing that as opposed to being like, oh, I'm going to fight 4 times a year. You fight 4 times a year, it's a good chance you're going to lose one of them times. So,
Rob.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Marab is a perfect example of that. Like, you fight more, it's a good chance you're going to lose.
Ian Garry, he's a bit of a weird one, right? Like, he's a difficult guy to fight, difficult guy to look good against. He's long, he's rangy, he's pretty strategic in there. How do you feel like he matches up with Islam Makhachev?
He does well with Islam on the stand-up because he's rangy, he's tricky, all those. But on the ground, he doesn't. He does okay, but he doesn't survive on the ground, I don't think. I mean, well, okay, he might survive 5 rounds, but he won't get the best of Islam on the ground. That I'm 100% sure about that. On the stand-up, he's pretty tricky. So one punch can change everything on that. One kick, one punch, one knee. You know, so that's a different story. But on the ground, I don't see him dominating. I see him surviving, possibly. So yeah, I could see that. But and then the takedown defense that he has is decent, but not great enough to stop Islam from taking him down. But again, you know, sometimes we'll go in there and we'll decide that we're gonna do this with Islam, and next thing you know, next round we'll say, okay, take him down now, or next thing you know, next round we'll go stand up, because he's that good. So,
you know, we've seen upsets this year, so I'm not going to say that Garry can't win this fight. Obviously, a lot of stuff can happen, but I think Islam's got this. I think he looks like a true welterweight. He looks like someone that is very strong in the weight class. Didn't look like he missed a beat there as far as moving up. I think Islam probably takes the decision. The one thing with Garry, to his credit, hasn't been finished. I don't know if Islam will be the guy to do that. Even the Shavkat fight, we've seen Shavkat with a very good finishing ability, wasn't able to do it. Obviously, Shavkat was injured in that fight, and we haven't seen him since. But, you know, that was still a close fight for Garry. So I think probably Islam wins the decision, but I'll do a little bit more. I will do an in-depth breakdown a little bit later here on Early Look and kind of go into the, you know, nuts and bolts and the numbers and all that stuff. So that probably think Islam wins the decision. Is it going to be like a, you know, dominant decision? I don't know about that. I think Garry will put up a good fight, but I am leaning towards Islam. Okay.
Islam Makhachev is the favorite in his welterweight title defense, but not everyone thinks it will be easy. Many experts believe he will win, but some think Ian Machado Garry has the skills to make it tough. Well-known MMA figures like Michael Bisping, Kenny Florian, and Din Thomas have explained why this fight might be closer than fans think.
At 170, he has some of the best footwork at 170, I'll say that much. And defense everywhere, he's solid. But Makhachev is Makhachev. If he gets, you know, his fingers behind your leg, it's a problem to get him off, you know. He could have just anything, just grabbing your wrist, and he makes it a problem. We saw him with that Dustin fight, you know, it was a close fight. All he had was those ankles, and he made a miracle work, you know. So I I'm gonna go with Makhachev, but I don't think it's gonna be easy. I think the first 2-3 rounds are gonna be highly competitive, but I think Makhachev, with his will, with his championship mentality, is gonna find a way to make Ian take a passenger seat and just chill.
Yeah, because Makhachev does have a large enough frame to be able to deal with the height difference.
He's sneaky big.
He's sneaky big. He's bigger than you think he is.
He's a lot bigger than you think.
He's like 6 feet, 6'1".
Yeah, but if you look at him, like, you don't see, like, it sounds weird, right? But it's like, not until you up next to him, you're like, oh, damn, you're a lot bigger than I thought you were, you know?
He's got a big frame.
Yeah.
Speaking of those odds, do we have any of those odds? Does Kalshi have those, or is it too soon? Well, there you have it. Look at that. So they're saying who's going to be holding the belt by the end of this year, December 31st, 2026. 77% have it in favor of Islam, the champ. 20% for Carlos. 19% for Ian. So it seems as though not a lot of faith in Ian right now. Can I tell you what is probably most surprising about this? It's the thought that they think that someone is going to get a crack at Islam if he wins by the end of this year, like someone else. I mean, if history is any indication, it's usually one a year for Islam. Like, you think he's fighting August 15th and coming back by the end of the year? I mean, I guess if it's a really quick fight, but...
It's not going to be a quick fight, I don't think.
It's not going to be. Do you fancy his chances, PT?
I think he has a chance, absolutely. I think, look, Islam's the best fighter in the world. It's a huge task. He'll test Ian in a way that we thought Bilal would, and he didn't.
While Michael Bisping agrees that Islam Makhachev should be favored to win, he also says that too many people overlook the chances that Ian Machado Garry has in the fight. He says that there are too many fans who think that the match will be a walkover for Islam because of all he has achieved in the past. He went on to argue that Ian Garry was actually a lot stronger than many people think he is. For example, he cited the 17-1 win-loss ratio of Garry, his match with Shavkat Rakhmonov, and his win against Bilal Muhammad. This proves that Ian Garry has what it takes to be among the very best welterweights in MMA.
And I'm telling you right now, this fight for Islam Makhachev may be a lot harder than what people think. Given all of the accolades that Islam Makhachev has, it's easy to just dismiss Ian Garry and say, listen, he's got to just run right through him. Okay, you could send him to Dagestan or Georgia for 20 years and still forget all about it.
Send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Okay, because Islam Makhachev is the GOAT. He's going to take him down. The man's Irish. They don't wrestle in Ireland, for crying out loud. Well, guess what? He's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's 17-1. He had a very, very close fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov. Ended the fight threatening the rear naked choke. He beat the former champion Bilal Muhammad that wrestled the life out of Leon Edwards, okay? So this is a real fight. Before you start to think that this is just going to be one-way traffic, I'm telling you, this is going to be a lot tougher than what you think.
There is no denying the reason why Islam Makhachev has been tagged as one of the best fighters in the world. In reviewing his resume, Bisping recognizes that if Islam is able to get a quick takedown, then he will have the edge in the fight. Bisping knows that Islam is better than Garry when it comes to submission, grappling, and jiu-jitsu, which has allowed him to finish numerous top fighters. Nonetheless, Bisping does not go on to say that Islam will be dominating in the fight due to Garry's unique style of striking.
The career of Islam is ridiculous. When you look at the last few fights that he had, the people on his resume, it's insane. Jack Della Maddalena, Renato Moicano, granted on a day's notice, and he made it look easy, got it done in just 4 minutes. Before that, Dustin Poirier submitted him. Alexander Volkanovski, 2 times in a row. Charles Oliveira, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Thiago Moises. When Thiago Moises was the real deal, when he was a contender, when he was coming up and he was very, very hungry. So as I say, he's on a run. The record of Islam Makhachev is 28 wins and 1 loss with 18 stoppages. And of course, if he can get a hold of Ian Garry and take him down, yeah, it's probably going to be easy. Ian will struggle to get back to his feet, and I don't think he can match Islam in terms of jiu-jitsu or submission grappling, okay? But it's the style that Ian Garry has.
According to Kenny Florian, Ian Machado Garry has the exact type of boxing style that can create issues for Islam Makhachev, but only if he manages to keep the fight upright. While Garry doesn't possess a knockout power or a combination game, he is the one who utilizes his movement the best in the fight, according to Kenny Florian. Garry moves forward all the time and is constantly striking, which makes it extremely difficult for his opponent to close the gap and get control.
Yeah, no, Ray, I think you nailed it. I think there's different types of strikers out there. There's guys that kind of lead with their power or their speed or their ability to put together combinations is what makes them a great striker. And I think what makes Ian Gary Machado so interesting is the fact that his striking is all predicated off of his footwork. And that is the key to success against someone like Islam Makhachev, who's trying to get into that clinch position. And it's one thing to be able to strike. It's another thing to be able to strike and move. And Ian does that extremely well. He's going to have to be on his bike repeatedly. And it's further complicated for Islam Makhachev because of that length that you talked about as well, Ray. This is a guy who's, like 6'3"?
Florian also pointed to Gary's physical attributes as another reason this matchup is more competitive than many people think. He noted that Gary's height, reach, and long-range weapons could frustrate Islam throughout the fight. However, Florian also made it clear where the fight could completely swing. If Islam succeeds in getting past that range, closes the distance, and secures the clinch, he expects the champion to take over with his elite wrestling and grappling. Even so, Florian warned fans not to overlook Gary, adding that while he isn't known as a devastating puncher, he absolutely can knock Islam Makhachev out if he lands the right shot.
170 pounds, he can use those long-range weapons, be it the teeth down the middle or the kicks upstairs or those long jabs, to keep Islam frustrated and maybe force him into some bad shots. Now, if Islam is able to get to that clinch and find a way to get on the inside, then I think he has his way with Ian Machado Garry. But until then, it's going to be very interesting because do not sleep on Ian Machado Garry. Yes, maybe he's not known for his power. Do I think he can knock out Makhachev? Yes, I do.
Carlos Prates describes the way Islam probably intends to win the match. He believes that it will be a fight based on takedowns and positional dominance, but he is also wondering whether it will be that kind of dominant fight where grinding plays an essential part. As far as Carlos sees it, Ian will still have chances to stand up and start anew, thus forcing Islam to start again and again instead of keeping him down for a long time. There is one crucial factor Carlos mentioned: Islam is very hard to beat via scoring. The discussion now turns to the gap in size and style that weighs more heavily. Carlos brings up how Ian would definitely be going up against a taller, more physically powerful man than he is used to, especially since the guy is not only tall, but also very well-rounded, like Islam. He does not disregard him entirely though, noting the weapons Ian possesses in the form of his jab, his footwork, and especially in taking the back position in case there are scramble situations. This becomes an important point, as it means that Ian poses a threat of back control for Islam. According to Din Thomas, one of Gary's strengths in the upcoming battle could be his intelligence. He said that since Islam has remained so dominant in the ring for so many years, there has been so much video footage of him that is out there which other fighters can analyze. Instead of repeating the strategies that have already failed in the past against Islam, Thomas believes that Gary will come up with something to put Makhachev in unusual circumstances. He called Gary a cool-headed and very intelligent fighter who wouldn't rush in under pressure. In the overall picture of the match, Thomas sees that Gary's chances of beating the champion are greater than the odds suggest. Although many believe that Islam is a huge favorite for this fight, Thomas says that, based on the latest UFC matches, it has been proven that it is possible to beat champions in sports where you don't have any leeway. Of course, Thomas would never guarantee that there will be an upset in this fight. However, he did emphasize that Gary's chances are much greater than most people think. Chael Sonnen says Islam is a tough matchup for Gary. Gary is a great grappler and controls the fight, making him a threat in many positions. Sonnen, though, reminded everyone that Shavkat Rakhimov was considered a nightmare matchup for Gary, yet Gary still improved after that loss. That says a lot though, because Gary is still improving, and most guys at this level are stagnant and aren't learning new skills at this time in their career. Gary, if he continues to improve and fights the best, it might be too early to count him out against Islam. He also stepped back and looked at the bigger picture of the 170 division. There are a lot of skilled fighters, but few superstars. He basically stated that if the biggest news in the division is a possible Gary title shot, then no one else is fighting hard enough to make it a reality. No one is loudly promoting Islam. No one is making it happen. If you're not making a lot of noise, then someone else will take the opportunity away from you, and that's why this whole conversation exists. This was what some of the top people in MMA had to say regarding the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry. Though many believe that Makhachev will retain his belt, others feel that Garry is capable of shocking the MMA community by pulling off an upset win. With a combination of Islam's superior wrestling skills and championship experience matched against Garry's physical stature, mobility, and fight IQ, this has become one of the fights of the year. The more it gets towards fight day, the more diverse these opinions are becoming, and this just serves to create more hype about this upcoming title fight. There is no doubt in my mind that these two men definitely have something to prove, and that when the doors to that cage open, there is not going to be any mercy shown by either of them. But what are your thoughts on the matter? Will Islam Makhachev remain unbeaten, or will Ian Machado Garry take the title?